We are almost out of time, but I want to squeeze in Dane here with a quick lightning round call. Dane, I'm sorry we got so inundated with calls here, but we wanted to talk to you here at the tail end of the show. Pronouns are he, him, calling in from Washington with some observations on the fluidity of roles. What's on your mind?
Good afternoon.
Hey.
Actually, this is dovetailing perfectly into what Zoe was just speaking about. Been in the scene about 12 years. I've been a scene influencer. I've been a mentor. Done a lot of various things. I actually worked for CSTC for a while in Seattle, which is a big club, a big hotspot for the scene. But I wanted to address a couple of misconceptions. I think a lot of individuals kind of viewing BDSM from the outside generally have. And I wanted to, I guess, bounce off a few of the different ideas that other people thought of too. But anyway, fluidity of rules. What do I mean by that? I think one of the misconceptions that individuals have, particularly when they're not very familiar with BDSM or the lifestyle, is that people tend to fall very specifically into, I'm a top, I'm a submissive, I'm going to be a pet, and they kind of pick their flavor, and that's what they kind of speaks to them. I think from an outside perspective, they don't realize that these things change with experience. And that, just like Zoe was talking about with demisexuality, you may have different experiences depending on who you are with or around.
Yeah,
and
the partner. I mean, these things are dynamics, right? So there's going to be a push and a pull, whichever way you slice it, and who you are is going to be strongly brought out by who you are with.
Right, yeah, and it's not uncommon for you to feel drawn to other things, whether that's I want to try something, or it's I am really interested in this activity, and you meet somebody that actually knows that skill, and you want to experience that a little bit more fully. Or you have, as long as you have a partner that you trust and have built a foundation with, you have a construct to maybe try some of those things. But your expectations and your identity with your goals is going to change. A lot of times I call it wearing hats. You put on a different hat for a different feeling.
Yeah, I think that's a really valuable idea, because whether we are actively engaged in some sort of elaborate role play or not, there's real value, I think, in not necessarily keeping our sex life completely separate from the rest of our life, but to recognizing that it's a form of play, that it's a bit of silliness. And so our sexuality is often going to be a way of exploring different facets of our personality, different facets of our identity that may or may not accurately represent, quote, the whole. And, we can talk about, again, consciousness and identity and some of these ideas all night, but there's real value, I believe, in recognizing that none of this needs to be taken too seriously, and that if you are willing to play around, to try on different hats, then you can learn a lot about yourself, a lot about your partner, and a lot about your world in ways that might surprise you.
Absolutely. And honestly, when you're not always the one in charge, like if you're putting a dominant hat to the side, when you're approaching a task, whether it's learning something from somebody else or being a little bit more analytical about your interests or something, it gives you an opportunity to maybe broaden your understanding about something. And it gives you that opportunity to be a little bit more open to perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so if I could jump on this, I really like that. So when I started reversing roles with my partner right now, for one, I think the person that you're doing it with is of course the most important thing. You feel safe and comfortable with that person. And for me, I'm very demi, so is my partner. And the more I'm with them, the more I love them. And it's like the more I want to have sex with them. And it's really interesting. But So again, like I was saying, I'm really dominant. It's just real natural to me. But we've been doing reversal stuff, and I've been allowing her to dominate me, and it's really interesting. Like I finally got empathy for how hard I go. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, this is what
Yeah,
it's like
it's a good
to have.
experience. It's a good set of experience to have.
Yeah, it's like this is what it's like to have somebody do this to somebody. Oh, maybe I should be a little more conscientious at times. Maybe, yeah. It was really, it's a big eye opener. You know, it really is.
One of the other
It's
things
an eye opener, and it's a
kind
lot of
brings
fun
up to me,
too.
Well, yeah, it is a lot of fun.
I think when we have power exchanges within BDSM, it gives us an opportunity to really incorporate in a lot of trust building exercises. A lot of our playtime and the way that we approach various things, you know, what is the vanilla equivalent to the trust building exercises that we are attempting to build or improve upon on a regular basis?
Yeah, fair question.
Most vanilla couples are going to be they're going to have a difficult time explaining, well, this is what we do to build trust, right? Well, if you ask a BDSM couple what they're doing, they have, well, this and this and this and this, and we talked about this and this and this, you know.
Right.
It's just something that's built into the construct or the power exchange that we participate in this lifestyle.
That is an excellent observation. Yeah, for sure. All right, Dane, we are approaching the end of the show, and I want to get in one little element for our mailbag. But Jason, did you have any final thoughts before we move on?
No, I really appreciate Dane's perspective on this. It's
Yeah.
we had a conversation on the ACD last night for the brain matter stuff that we do with me and my partner, and we talked about boundaries and consent. And it's funny because we give each other, me, my partner, and of course my daughter, we give each other constant feedback. And if somebody gets their feelings hurt when receiving feedback, we roast each other for it because it's loving, but it's like, no, you need to be able to take feedback, and we have open communication in our household. And oh no, something I said, I set a boundary. You got to deal with it. Yeah, you're right. I do. You know,
honestly, my final thought is how advantageous doing like an after action report is, where you've talked about what you want to do, then you've gone and done it, and then you've discussed how did it go, what were your perceptions, how did it turn out. I think that type of openness is an excellent way to build communication within your dynamic.
Don't skip leg day. Don't skip aftercare. Yeah. It's just as important.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
We call it debriefing. Yeah, we call it debriefing in our household. We'll do something, and then afterwards we discuss it. We're like, well, what do you think about that? What was that like? Well, you know, I mean, it's like it's just I couldn't avoid it with my partner. You know, it's just how we are. You know, so it's good. That's really good.
People are so different. You know, it's ultimately at some point you're going to make a mistake, or you're going to go overboard, or you know, there's something that's going to come up. And by providing a structure to address those type of concerns, it makes you open, it makes your relationship a little bit more healthy, and you're not dealing with negative associated feelings with it long term.
Yeah, you're right. You're totally right, man.
Well, Dane, I want to thank you for your patience in waiting to get on today, and thank you for that message. That was it was super cool to hear and absolutely important.